Tonight, fire tears into the outskirts of Port Lincoln, destroying homes in its path. And the identity of an explosive device handed into a police station still to be determined.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with Louise Hedger begins now.
Good evening. 2 houses have been lost and numerous sheds destroyed in a fierce bushfire which suddenly flared up and spread on the outskirts of Port Lincoln late yesterday. Authorities have spent the day surveying the damage from the blaze. For the latest on the situation, we're joined by our Port Lincoln reporter Nathan Regter. Nathan, what's the situation like there now?
Well, Louise, the fire is now under control, but as you can see behind me, it's left a trail of destruction in its path. Hundreds of residents were displaced yesterday afternoon in what was a terrifying night for many here in Port Lincoln. Power had to be shut off, plunging 15,000 people into darkness. We spoke to some locals who are on the front line of the fire and who had property destroyed. Returning home to inspect the damage, cars and fences completely destroyed, rainwater tanks turned into a puddle of plastic.
Everything just came in black, pitch black, smell, couldn't even breathe properly, just had some tea towels around our faces to try and breathe.
The fire broke out at the height of when catastrophic conditions combined yesterday, scorching heat and gusty winds fanning the flames through thick scrubland. The alarm was raised just after 4 in the afternoon. The blaze spreading so rapidly, hundreds of homes quickly came under direct threat, many forced to evacuate.
We just decided to leave. It was getting that hot, dark, embers flying everywhere, landing on us, so we just decided to grab our personal belongings and head out to the marina where my daughter lives.
Across the road, flames came terrifyingly close to this home, the father and son deciding to stay and fight, using buckets of water and hoses to douse the flames, flaring through their property.
You just kept coming and coming and coming, and we've got a lot of acacia and kerosene bush down through the scrub here, and it's just explosive.
The fire licked the metal fencing. Incredibly, an emergency sprinkler system installed around the property was the only thing stopping this house from turning into a pile of rubble.
My son made the statement a couple of times yesterday. He said, "Dad, if you didn't have these sprinklers, we were in trouble."
But some weren't so lucky, with 2 homes completely destroyed. We understand those properties were on Lyle Drive and Concord Road. A lifetime of memories up in smoke and reduced to ash. Understandably, the owners were too distraught to speak on camera.
The fire is unknown, so I don't know how it started, and I honestly can't add any more than that at this stage. We'll go in and we'll do an investigation at a later point to find out if we can find any evidence or any information on it.
2 people are currently being treated in hospital, including one believed to be a firefighter who received minor burns. Port Lincoln Mayor praising the efforts from volunteers and authorities.
The emergency services are mainly made up of volunteers in this regional environment, and they just come together, and man, you should have seen them out there. They were very, very good at what they do, and thank God we've got them.
The region is expecting 60-kilometre wind gusts later tonight, which could flare up some hot spots. Authorities will remain on high alert for the rest of the night. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
While authorities were preparing for such a dire situation, the blaze did jump to emergency level quickly as it rapidly spread through tinderbox bush directly towards Port Lincoln. Crews launched their attack against the fire from the ground and in the air, with dozens of waterbombing aircraft and crews from across the region pitching in to try and gain the upper hand. Blackened land, flattened homes and sheds, burnt out cars. This vision from the air shows the extent of destruction on Port Lincoln's outskirts.
It's a timely reminder at the start of fire season that this could happen.
Crews yet to determine what started it, but they know one thing: drought-ravaged land, scorching temperatures and gusty winds combined for a recipe for disaster.
Fires can start for all sorts of reasons, and we won't know any more definitive than that until the fire cause investigation teams have done their work.
This is the ominous sight at 4 p.m. Fire and thick billowing smoke bore down on the city. It started at Duck Pond, rapidly spreading to the city's outskirts. At emergency level within minutes, residents warned to take shelter and not drive or risk being in its path.
It can't be understated the efforts of the firefighters on the day and also the efforts as a community.
8 water-bombing aircraft, 24 trucks, hundreds of firefighters scrambling to gain the upper hand. But it was too fierce. Homes and numerous structures were lost, usually safe spaces invaded by flames. Residents forced to flee with a moment's notice.
Just came in for an update to see if my house is still there or burnt.
Some coming here to the Curtin Point Bowling Club.
My son actually alerted to me to fire and smoke quite excitedly, and then I saw soot and ash raining down. So we just grabbed the car keys and got in the car and left.
This 92-year-old resident knows the feeling too well. She's experienced other fires before.
I hope it's still there. I've been through this before. I've been through too many traumas in my life.
She received a text and left her home straight away.
Wasn't sure where to go. I didn't know who to ask. There was nobody around. And I came home and realised that it hadn't finished yet.
SA Power Networks cut power to the entire city. More than 15,000 customers affected. It was reinstated to most homes within 7 hours. An anxious evening, crews worked through the night. They managed to bring it under control, helped by today's cool change.
Just thank the firefighters for getting onto it so quickly.
Thermal imaging will be used to determine any hotspots, and people are reminded to remain vigilant in case it flares up again. To the day's other news now, and a man will face court charged with a raft of offences after failing to stop for police in Port Lincoln in the early hours of Saturday morning. The 23-year-old man from Elizabeth allegedly sped away from officers after they attempted to stop the car on King Street. Police didn't pursue the driver but did make an arrest after he crashed into a tree on Tasman Terrace. He's been charged with failing to stop, speeding and driving unlicensed. A 16-year-old passenger was treated in hospital for minor injuries. The man was granted bail and will appear in the Port Lincoln Magistrates Court in December. And police in Broken Hill are calling for any witnesses to come forward after a home invasion on Beryl Street on Monday. Just before midnight, a man allegedly entered a house near Jabez Street, attempting to rob the occupant before fleeing empty-handed. The offender is described as being of Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander appearance, 165 centimetres tall with a large build. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. Investigations are continuing into the explosive device which was handed in to the Port Augusta Police Station yesterday. The station was evacuated just after 11 a.m, not reopening until close to midnight last night. The bomb squad was sent in from Adelaide as a precaution for public safety, but there was no threat to the public. The origin of the device is still unknown. A 25-year-old P-plater has had his licence cancelled for 6 months after being found speeding on the Augusta Highway yesterday afternoon. Police caught the silver Subaru travelling at 160 kilometres an hour in a 110 zone. The driver now has to cop up a fine more than $2,000 for the speed and breaching his provisional licence conditions. Still to come tonight, Port Augusta Citizen Award nominations open and history to be made on Friday with Broken Hill's first women's cricket competition. Welcome back. Nominations for the 2020 Citizen of the Year Awards are now open in Port Augusta. The awards focus on the positive contribution of community members.
It's time for Port Augusta to nominate who they think is deserving of the Citizens of the Year awards. 3 different categories up for grabs at the annual awards ceremony, combining the best of our community.
I keep saying the word community-minded, but that's what it's all about, and that's what Australia's all about.
Recognising the efforts from Port Augusta residents who go above and beyond for our city.
There's a lot of people out there to do great things, and it's always nice to get a pat on the back and acknowledgement for something you've done, so it makes you feel good and you continue to do that moving forward.
Last year's winner, Emily Holden, says winning was unexpected but welcomed.
It was a very special day, extremely overwhelming. It was extremely humbling.
The award showing the wider community exactly what residents give to the community.
It gives everybody else an understanding of what some people within our community are doing and what they're contributing.
urging other residents to nominate who they think is deserving of the next award.
Everybody knows somebody quite well who is doing a lot of great things within our community, and recognising those people is part of saying thanks.
Nominations close December 13th. Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Augusta Arid Lands Botanical Gardens has been awarded the bronze medal in the Eco-Tourism category at the South Australian Tourism Awards. The awards focus on sustainable tourism, combining environment and culture.
The Arid Lands Botanical Gardens in the spotlight. Port Augusta's scenic destination announced the bronze medal in the Eco-Tourism category in the South Australian Tourism Awards last week. The competition fierce.
The competition was huge at the awards, so it really is a testament to the businesses who won and who got silver and bronze medals.
Their third consecutive bronze award.
So it's consistent across the years, and it's so good for the council, the staff and the volunteers, and of course all the locals and visitors that come to us each year.
Using different ways to ensure they're helping take care of the environment whilst providing to tourists.
Water conservation, solar panels, mulching all of our gardens. We're really into the ecotourism side of things here at the garden.
Confident that this award will continually help tourism grow within the gardens.
People do look at businesses that have won awards, and especially if people are travelling around to eco-friendly places, they'll definitely call into the garden.
The Clare Valley Food and Tourism Centre, the winner of the Visitor Centre Services, tipped as a positive for surrounding areas too.
A lot of people come through Clare and up through the Southern Flinders to visit us here in Port Augusta, so it's definitely good for the whole region.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Broken Hill cricket history is set to be made this weekend, with the first ever women's competition matches taking place. A new format will be used for the inaugural season, giving all the girls a chance to hone their skills.
It will be a milestone moment for the Barrier District Cricket League this Friday night, the first game of women's cricket taking place at the Norm Fox, south facing west. For the South girls, they can't wait for that first ball to be bowled.
We've been in the nets working hard over the last couple of months, and we're ready and raring to go.
There will be 4 teams contesting the inaugural season, north, south, west and central. Over 60 players wanting to have a swing. The first competition will feature a more inclusive format. Each team will have an 18-over innings. Wickets only deduct runs off the total, and there'll be 6 batting pairs.
They bat for 3 overs each, and then bowlers, a maximum of 3 overs per bowler, so that means each side has to have 6 bowlers at least.
You get time out in the middle to learn the game, learn your craft and actually improve from week to week.
The city's senior male players coming on board to help with coaching.
The enthusiasm that the girls have shown right from the start has been really encouraging, and a handful of us senior guys have been happy to help out any way we can.
The local league excited for what the comp will bring.
It's a really exciting time, I think, for our cricket club, but also for the local cricket league to sort of boost its numbers with women's cricket.
The Friday night game will start at 5:30. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. Students in Whyalla offered the chance of a lifetime with Adelaide Football Club, and we'll have the weather with Britt. Hello again. 17 students from Whyalla have had the opportunity to travel to Adelaide and meet with Port Adelaide players. The experience part of the GFG Foundation Test Pilot Program, an initiative aiming to provide local young people with hands-on learning experiences.
A rare opportunity, one many students would dream about.
Hands up here if you've ever played footy before.
The students receiving the experience of hands-on learning with professional AFL players.
Life after school, and it's just one of those initiatives that the GFG group have done to help build community that Port Adelaide is trying to assist with.
The initiative is unique to the Whyalla community and aims to guide senior school students into different career paths, the excursion to Adelaide making some stops on the way.
So we wanted them to have experience of what goes on in a big city. The air show just happened to be something that was on at the same time, and that had a STEM component.
And things about like the RAF base, that was heaps good with like planes and all of the things that we had to do. Like there was heaps of stuff about TAFE, unis.
Port players who grew up in regional areas spoke with the students about hard work and setting goals.
Just done every sport growing up, basketball, footy, cricket, athletics, and put my hand up and do anything like sort of country towns do.
That people don't get to great positions just by talent alone. They get there through sheer determination and hard work. And I think talking to footy players about that determination and hard work is such an incredible life example for them.
There's been talks to expand Sanjay Gupta's program across the regions, and Port Adelaide's CEO says his club is eager to stay involved.
Using footy is a way of doing that. So we would be really pleased to integrate our programs.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The Broken Hill Spring Tennis Competition looks set for an exciting end as finals fast approach. Here's Patrick Reinke with the weekly wrap-up of our local sport.
With the last of the minor rounds this week, the race for a spot in the finals is heating up. Top Spins continued their run of good wins, beating backhands 4-2. Forehands got over serves in a match with many tiebreakers. Corey Pascoe and Rusty Power played set of the night, Pascoe getting the win. Drop shots also got the job done, beating smashers. Young Josh Niaros got a win in his first match as a number 1. To basketball, and in Port Pirie, after 4 rounds, every team has 4 points on the ladder. It's shaping up to be a very tight season. Globetrotters powered home with a 20-point win against Tomcats. In the second game, it was a shootout between the Pacers Lawson Munzburg and the Ducks Lachlan Nibbs. The pair both continued their good form during the clash, Nibbs scoring 21 points while Munzburg drained 28, Pacers winning by 7. Over in Whyalla, the Roos just managed to gain the ascendancy over the Braves 55-51, and in the second fixture, a 51-point combination between Callan Boundy and Michael Bergen saw the Wildcats thump the Titans, the margin 41 points. To Port Augusta, and the close games continue. The Wildcats there also managing to get a win against the Titans. However, the difference was only 3 points this time. Nothing could split the Cobras and Eagles when they did battle, 43-43. Special mention to Ronald Hawke, who scored a clutch 2 points with seconds on the clock to tie the game. Jumping over to Whyalla baseball, and the Roadrunners had the double header. The results were positive for the side, outmuscling the Indians by 7 and also downing the Tigers in a high-scoring affair. 23 runs in total were batted in during that game. Thanks to those who sent in their results.
Now for a look at the weather, here's Britt Aylen.
Thanks, Louise, and good evening. Milder temperatures across the region today. Broken Hill 23, Port Augusta 21, Whyalla and Port Pirie 20, Adelaide 17, Port Lincoln 15. From the satellite, mostly clear skies in the north under a ridge of high pressure, cloud in the south ahead of a low pressure trough and front bringing a few isolated showers. To tomorrow on the Gulf waters, southerly winds tending southwesterly at 15 to 20 knots with seas around 2 metres. Sunrise at 6:10 tomorrow morning. Fine and partly cloudy conditions forecast about the region. Port Augusta, Woodner, Corn and Broken Hill all 23, Port Pirie 22, Whyalla and Cleve 21, Kadina 20, Clare and Adelaide 19, Coffin Bay 17 degrees, Port Lincoln a top of 16. Looking further through the week with showers forecast at Port Lincoln on Thursday, fine conditions Friday and Saturday, Cleve looking partly cloudy over the coming days, Woodner fine on Thursday, sunny on Friday, fine again on Saturday. Whyalla and Kadina both looking fine and partly cloudy through the remainder of the week. Much the same at Port Augusta with sunny conditions expected on Friday. Partly cloudy conditions at Port Pirie and Clare over the coming days, and finally to Broken Hill where it's looking sunny on Thursday and Friday with a fine start to the weekend. And with that, Louise, it's back to you.
All right, thanks for that, Britt. And that's your local news for today. Thank you for joining us. We'll have updates later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.